Yes, that's a really good point, Debbie. Where do we start with deletion, right? Most companies, you have to have a really comprehensive data strategy and enterprise data management policy and program. And that doesn't just mean what data is stored in what system, right? It also means who has access to that data, how is that data being extracted, used, shared, and replicated. And so we hear the term data minimization. It's really important in an organization to really control how that information is accessed, copied, and controlled and shared, because if it's in an Excel document somewhere, or it's in, a server or a database has been replicated, when it comes to deleting that information, it's really hard to confidently and accurately say that you deleted that information if you get a deletion request. But deletion requests, we tend to think from a consumer standpoint, if a consumer is aware, that's one aspect of it. The consumer can go to a privacy policy, exercise on their data privacy rights if they live in a specific state and delete their data. In the US, most companies that have implemented a DSAR management tool or process, they have only had to focus on California. Now we're seeing Connecticut and Massachusetts and Virginia and all these other companies start to come forward with data privacy rights in their particular state. And so as we move into next year, we're starting to implement those additional states to be rolled up with California. That's going to continue over the next 1 to 2 years. And so we'll have about 40 or 50 states, which you'll be able to go in and say you want your data deleted. So when you think of data deletion from my perspective and your perspective, we understand that it should be an equal right across our country. And so what you tend to see, and this may be not the best analogy, but there is, because of the jurisdiction lines in states, we tend to think of one state having more rights over a different state, but we all live in America, right? So when you think of things that we've had to deal with in the past that may have to do with race throughout human history in this country, there's been different classes of people that have had different rights because of the color of their skin. Well, when you think of data deletion rights, that same mentality and mindset is being applied to data, right? We're saying, well, if you live in this state, you will delete your data, but if you live in this state, you're not good enough, or we're not going to honor your request. And so that kind of separation mentality in terms of how we handle data under our country creates a lot of separation, and it's going to cause some of the same discrimination. Like, there are consumers that are starting to feel discriminated because we may live in Washington or we may live in Chicago, and we want to be able to delete our data, and we can't because we don't live in California, right? That type of activity has to evolve so that we can have more unity in our country and fair access to information and fair control over our privacy as citizens of the United States equally across the board.